We are back, episode 107, with the It Ain't No Hobby type guy. Head coach, Point University, Maddux, Lytle, coffee maker extraordinaire.
And competitor, winner, half of the BSG Classic winner, and he goes out and what are your alternate now for that event you played in a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, state am. So yeah, I'm second alternate. Got it probably, I don't know, maybe a 50-50 chance.
You got a better chance than we do. That's impressive to do that. So BSG Podcast, episode 107, got a special guest on tonight. Going to talk to him and then have him just talk some golf with us. But first, we'll do a little rundown of the show and then talk about our sponsor. We got our guest on, Coach Lytle. We're going to recap the U.S. Open, big week this past week. Sunday was a big, entertaining day. We'll talk about that. Travelers Championship predictions and the KPMG Women's PGA Championship predictions. But first, Brady's going to tell you about our sponsor, Moon Golf.
Hey, you guys may be wondering how the BSG boys stay looking so good and have the latest equipment every time you see us on the course. Well, that's because we shop at Moon Golf. Moon Golf is located just down the road in Auburn, and it's the ultimate golf shop in East Alabama. If you're looking to grab a new club for the bag this summer, be sure to swing it in their TrackMan bays with some of the best club fitters in the area. They strive to put every single customer in the correct equipment, and I promise you won't be disappointed when you leave. And don't forget about club repairs. Be sure to talk to my man Jonah if you have any problems with your current equipment or equipment that you might get from them. Believe me, he can literally change a set of iron grips faster than a NASCAR pit stop. Don't forget to check out all the other gear in the store, like the new line of FootJoy shoes, Swanee polos, and even the Vice golf balls. We don't want to see it on the course unless you bought it from Moon Golf. So go visit them today.
And now Vessel golf bags in stock now. So go grab one of them. Brady, I'll let you introduce the guest today.
Nice. Yeah, I wrote up, found some stats on him already. Was the first official guest on the podcast on episode 16, also on episode 54, and now he's making his third appearance on episode 107. And we really want to talk to him about the 2023 to 2024 Point University men's golf team, their recap for the season. Maddux, what went well, and what do you have to work on for next season?
I think from an individual standpoint, as far as the guys go, we had a lot of success. We had a little bit of team success. We especially, we had a big win at Mossy Oak over in West Point, Mississippi. And then we had a win in the fall as well at the end of the year, our last event in the fall at Barnsley Gardens. So, we had a couple of high moments. We had a lot of low moments as well. I mean, we had just some team performances that didn't go as planned. Seemed like every time we didn't place well, it was just one round that set us back. Every other round we were, consistently in the top 3 or 4 teams of anywhere we were at. But again, that one round that maybe we were a little sloppy set us back a bit. But the thing that I kind of translated to the guys a lot was just the fact that, we have everybody – most everybody coming back this year. We lost one guy who played for us in and out throughout the year and started at the national championship. But other than that, our core essentially doesn't go anywhere. So that's something that we're looking forward to this year is just having those guys come back with more experience. As a freshman or a sophomore playing in collegiate events, especially especially for the sophomores that we had that kind of came in and had to take over from a guy like Cole Stevens or Trevor Poole. It was tough to replace those guys, but I think that they have the talent to do so. They just needed the tournament reps. They just need the experience. So that's something that we talk about and we're looking forward to in the future. But yeah, overall we had a lot of good individual performances. I think we had 3 or 4 individual wins. So that was big time. It's extremely hard to win in golf in general. But especially as a team. And then, again, any win you celebrate. So we celebrated a lot of wins this year, which was awesome. So it was good.
It looks like recruiting's going well. Y'all signed. I saw Kyle Davidson, who's coming off a championship team, moving over to Point. How did that go? Like, how did you find out about Kyle and what he loved about the school?
Yeah, so he's actually quite familiar with some of the guys on the team now. Jacob and Duncan, they all three grew up together. And funny enough, last summer he actually came to stay for a little while with Jacob in between going home from here back to South Africa. So I met him before and then kind of kept an eye on him this year, knowing that he was at a JUCO. And kind of towards the end of the year, I was waiting to see if he was going to, what kind of where his head was, if he planned to go somewhere else or whatever. Kind of got to him a little bit later than I would have liked to, but it worked out well. I think just the familiarity he has with the guys on the team. And then again, he's coming from a team that just won the national championship. He was part of that. So he kind of understands that our goal for this year is to win the national championship. And then, alongside of that, he's got 2 more years along with Jacob and Duncan. And we are losing two guys that we plan to be kind of in the lineup this year, after this year. But even then, to have those 3 guys as our core for their final and their senior year, I think that they could accomplish a lot. And I think that's something that he shared, I guess, personally with me. He shared that, he wants that same goal of winning the big one. So I think that's something that he was looking for, is somebody that wanted to do that and had trust that he could help do that. And I 100% believe in the kid. He's got a phenomenal golf swing. We have very similar minds as far as golf goes. He hits the ball a mile. Obviously, it certainly helps me just as much as it helps him that he's friends with a couple of guys on the team. So, we'll have that. I think we'll have a really good kind of team connection through everybody, as we always do. But I think that'll only strengthen it a bit with him coming in to help us out.
For everybody that's not Maddux, what do y'all think's more impressive? Bryson's bunker shot on 18 or Coach's wake surfing skills behind the boat? I'm going with the wake surfing with the sketch.
No.
I'm going with that. That's more impressive than his shot.
Tuesday.
Yeah. If y'all didn't know, Coach is a very athletic person other than the golf. But yeah, let's talk about some of these solo tournaments you're playing right now. Are you kind of in itching to play some golf? Is that kind of where you're getting into it?
Yeah, I mean, last summer I played in a little bit, but not a ton. And then honestly, I just played a lot with the guys over the last bit of the spring, and I was playing pretty well. And I was like, you know what? I want to see how this holds up in competition. So, and I always love to compete. So, again, that's a big reason why I do play with the guys, is because I want to go out there and I won't sugarcoat. I want to beat their teeth in every time we play. I want to embarrass them. So, and that's what I like to do in competition. So that was kind of the thing that fired it up a little bit. And so I've got a small summer schedule going right now. I'm actually leaving Thursday to play in a 3-day event over in Jasper, Alabama. And then of course the Kirby later in July. Hopefully the Stay Down at some point. I may try to qualify for the Georgia Open just because it's at Kinderloo Forest, a really good track, really fun track, place I love. So, yeah, I got the competitive juices are flowing a little bit, and I enjoy it.
I'm getting some the rookie Dennis Quaid vibes, where he tells his team if they win the state, he'll go try out for Major League Baseball. I'm getting those vibes right now, where Coach is like, hey, if we win something, I'm gonna go chase the tour for a little bit.
Shoot, I'd love to.
Do you think playing in the competitive tournaments again gets you back level-minded with where the players are every time they compete? I feel like if you don't play in the competitive events for a while, you kind of forget the mode, you forget how to turn it on and how to silence everything, and then you play them, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is what they're dealing with. You just have to remind yourself with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think outside looking in is always easier. And that's something that, again, just perfectly to your point, that I saw a lot when I was even just the 1-day qualifying event that I played in. And then just some other, just playing with my dad and a lot in the points game. I've played well, and I've been trying to go low and betting for a little bit of cash here and there. So I think outside looking in, it's always easier for me to say, hey, why did you do that? Or, that was a terrible mistake that you made, or whatever it may be. And so I think playing a lot is just allowing me to say, okay, look, that was a mistake. It's going to happen. I do it. You do it. Everybody does it. Let's see what we can do to fix it on the next one. Which is, something that I try to stay in kind of that mindset throughout the year. But again, once you're when we play 13 events a year, at some point I kind of get in that like stale mindset of you have to do, you have to play really well. But I guess like on the other aspect of it, a lot of it is, a lot of me playing has to do with the fact that like, if these guys can see that I can do it based off of what I'm trying to preach to them, maybe those that haven't or don't know me yet or haven't bought into what I've been trying to teach them, maybe they'll see it on paper and think, okay, well, he's obviously doing what he's telling us to do. Maybe we should listen and kind of try that out. Like one of my biggest things to tell the guys is like the objective every time you tee it up is to make 18 pars and just let the birdies come where they may. You're going to make bogeys. That's just part of the game, but you want to eliminate the big number and just make as many pars as possible. And so, for example, like at the qualifier, I think I only had maybe two birdies and three bogeys, and I strung off pars one after another. And some of them were ugly, and some of them were the way golf is supposed to be played, fairway green two putt. One of them I chipped twice, but just so happened to chip the second one in. And a couple of them I hit it to like inside 10 feet and just missed. And so it happens. And so, that's something I try to teach there, tell them is like, hey, just make pars. Like find a way to make a par. If your swing's not good, if your swing isn't feeling good, you got to have something to rely on. We always work on like knockdown shots that just go dead straight, even if they're 20 yards shorter than normal, club up and just hit that to keep it in play type of deal. So
let me ask you for something real quick. This is for everybody that's at our skill level. For a player like us and you have a coach like you, would you take that same mentality but tell us just try to make bogey and then pars will happen? Or
no.
should we still be trying to make pars?
No, I tell you to make as many pars as you possibly can.
Okay, I'm just wondering if I should.
A lot of it for mid handicap guys is just like it comes down to short game. It seems like 99% of the time, it's just making more putts inside of 5 feet and hitting more putts outside of 20 feet within the 10% of where you're at. So if you're at 40 feet, no more than 4 feet, and if you're around the green, like pulling putter 9 times out of 10 is going to be better than chipping it. Even if that means it's like out of the rough or 15 yards off the green, like you would save so many shots by just keeping the ball to as low to the ground as possible around the greens, and just not trying to make anything outside of like 15 feet in an odd way. I mean, you're always trying to make the putt, but like your mindset has to go from like, I'm not trying to ram this in the back of the hole. I want this to drip in from 25 feet if it's downhill, or I want to leave this just below the hole if it's uphill, because you don't want to have a 3 or 4 foot slider from downhill or, coming back down the hill. So it's a lot of just like small things like that and playing percentages.
How many guys are y'all looking at having on the team this fall?
This fall, we're going to have 21 guys on the roster.
I think, did Blake tell us a few weeks ago, like they only had a few on there and he was talking about how nice it was to have, 21 like you are saying. I think that he said they only have like 6 or 7. Is that right, Brady?
Yeah.
Is that?
I think he said 8.
8. Yeah, so we're telling him you had 21, and so really that's a huge blessing point. Y'all have a big pool, and I guess it's better too for competition because there's more guys competing against each other. So 21 people, that's cool having that many.
The reason Casey's asking is he found out he may have some eligibility.
I got a couple of years left, Coach.
90 golfer.
I may walk on a little bit. I don't need a scholarship. I just need the gear.
Oh yeah, that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, I don't want the
That's
scholarship.
what I want.
I don't want the scholarship. I just want the foot joys. So you're gonna hang out with us, talk golf for a little bit, Coach, or you got something?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, y'all ready to jump into this past weekend?
I'm ready.
It was an interesting weekend. Us three and Mitch, we were all texting all day Sunday as we were watching. Bryson DeChambeau wins, or some would say Rory lost. We'll get into that later. His second U.S. Open, shooting a 71, holding off Rory and Cantlay. Down the stretch, this was some of the best must-watch golf in a long time as far as entertainment. So I guess what was some takeaways for y'all that y'all enjoyed from the weekend, and we can kind of get into the notes Brady had.
Number one, I think Bryson's the best thing for golf right now because he's high caliber. He's a great player. And then he's interacting with the fans like nobody's done, especially in the middle of a tournament.
Tell everybody what you text us about the sacrifice you made so he could win.
I had him picked. I picked him weeks ago, but every time I picked him or Brooks, they just come in second. Like I've had Brooks pick last year for the Masters. He come up short. And I was like, I don't want my guy Bryson to come up short. I said, let me go with Scotty. I want Bryson to win.
And Bryson
And then
did
we
it.
did a poll on Spotify. I said, Bryson with my heart, Scotty with my head.
I almost changed my pick to Bryson because, like, when we did the Spotify poll, I had picked Bryson. I was like, I think he's probably got realistically the best chance. And that
I
was
didn't check the
before tournament
results on that.
started.
Who had the highest result?
I'm assuming Bryson. I can look real quick.
Yeah,
I saw
I think
stats prior to the tournament saying specifically because of Bryson's ball flight being so high, he had a better statistical chance to win because the greens would be more receptive than a lot of the other players. I was like, I hope he does. And then he did. I was in here celebrating like Alabama was winning.
So we'll ask somebody that's actually a skilled golfer over here. That bunker shot he had, everybody like Smiley, Kaufman, and all these commentators talking about how they would skull it over the clubhouse. I know it's a hard shot, but is it really? Do you think it would be that hard a shot as much everybody's saying, or are they kind of hyping it up a little bit?
No, I say it all the time. That's the hardest shot in golf. If you have a bunker shot from, we'll say, like 40 to 70 yards, it takes like extreme precision, especially in that situation that he was in. I think if you were to go back and somehow replicate that same moment 10 more times or 9 more times, we'll call it, I think he maybe gets it up and down one more time. And that's only because he's one of the best golfers in the entire world. But, I think if you take even a high-level amateur out there that, in any situation, they're not getting that up and down more than once out of 10 times. I mean, it's very, very difficult. I mean, the golf course obviously was playing fairly tough this week for them. And like Zach said, with the greens as hard and firm as they were, I mean, yeah, that was a big advantage for him. And so for him to even be able to, you obviously have a ton more spin coming out of a shot like that, but for him to even hold the green or even take on that line was quite ridiculous.
And he had to carry it to that top tier where the pin was. Like, if he would have left it, 5 feet short of where it landed, it would have just stayed down there on that bottom tier.
Yeah, no, that was unbelievable. I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, that may be one of the best shots that's ever been hit in a major championships on the final stretch, we'll say even. I mean, the last 3 holes, let alone the last hole, knowing that he has to get it up and down to win. I mean, a shot that he could easily, come out of there with double. I mean, you thin that over or leave it short, then, with the way those greens were, dude, you could easily 3-putt it or not get up and down on the next. I mean, that was just insane.
And then to hear him talk about how he intentionally chunked it a little bit because that's the way he had to play that shot. I was like, golly, I couldn't just purposefully chunk. I mean, I'd chunk it on accident, but not purposefully chunk it because that's the way to play it.
Yeah, next time y'all play golf, you need to have a competition from a 55-yard bunker and see who hits it the closest, and that'll tell you how hard it is.
We watched when we went to last September and we stood behind 18 green at number 2, and we watched a group come up. There was a guy in that bunker, and he did not get on the green from there.
He kept rolling off.
Yeah, he couldn't get it out. And now that I think back to that hole, how far that bunker was out, and then even 18 green, how it's got that turtle shell. I remember standing right behind it and watching that guy, and I think he ended up 3-putting too on 18 green. But yeah, that bunker is not next to the green like it looked like on TV for a little bit.
The one big thing I noticed, and Maddux, I'll let you talk about this since maybe like you've been in this situation before, like in a tournament, but his playing partner Matthew Pavone like didn't put out at the end, and he made. I don't know if he made Bryson putt, out of turn. Would you say he was out of turn?
Scummy.
Whenever they finished out.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be hard to say. Usually, what happens there is that Bryson would have gone after Pavone, so that no matter where Pavone would have been on the green, usually they want the champion to hit the last putt.
Finish last.
And like I've been on both sides of that. Like I've marked my ball that was a foot or two from the hole just to be the person to finish last. And I've also told guys, hey, you're probably going to win, or you are going to win. Let me go ahead. You wait, like that type of deal. Even if
Right.
it's like a 12 or 15 footer, right? Like you want to have that kind of that hype around it for anybody that's watching. It's a lot more fun. It happened when I won the Kirby. I had like maybe 2 feet to win, and the guys that I was playing with, they all went ahead and finished. And the behind 18 at Noonan, there was a bunch of people. Like my parents were up there, my wife and kid were up there, and a bunch of the members and just folks everywhere. So I was like, it was the longest 2-footer I've ever had to make, but it was a lot more fun knowing I like make the putt, then everybody can scream, hoot, holler, whatever. Put the flag stick in and go. So I think that's a more fun way to do it. I think.
Even my wife, who doesn't really, she watches golf and she doesn't understand it. She like we saw Bryson celebrate, and then we watched him calm down while old buddy putted. She's like, "Why did they do that? Why not him? Why is he not still celebrating?" And I said, "Oh, buddy just took all his glory from him like that." I did not enjoy that at all because I I wanted the caddy and Bryson to go crazy. It was like Bryson went crazy and then he had to stop so everybody could watch him putt.
And his coin was slightly in front of Bryson's line. It was just off it. I would have said, go ahead, get out of the way. Too much on the line to even think about bumping somebody's coin on a line like that.
I was thinking about
something
it
to do
too.
with that too, like just for DeChambeau, it may have been like he didn't want Pavone to be in his line, or Pavone didn't want to worry about being in his line, or something of that nature. I don't know.
Thought maybe he was doing it like in spite of Rory missing that putt.
Oh yeah,
just like icing Bryson a little bit, like making him think about the putt more. I don't know,
Even I don't know if y'all, when Bryson talked about his second shot from that jump and he hit it into the bunker, he said that he had the thought cross his mind about hitting it too far and it rolling through the green, missing that bunker and going to the back of the clubhouse, and he was trying to get in that bunker or somewhere around there. And just so it just shows how good he is. Like if you're trying to get there because you can get up and down, and then not really people are talking about the shot he had with that root right beside his ball. They wouldn't give him relief. The magnolia tree behind him as he went at the tops of his swing. The whole thing was intense. I remember him watching it, just like he's taking 1,000 practice swings. Like, I don't know what he's gonna do. Why didn't he get relief? The ball is like right against a root. I felt like, or at least it looked like from that camera angle.
In that situation, couldn't his caddy hold that limb back, Maddux? Is that something that could be done?
That may be like a newish rule change where I don't know if that's really ever been allowed. But like you can't break it. Anything that's alive, you can't break. So like if you had a limb in your backswing, say it's dead from a dead tree, you can just knock it out of the way. But anything that's like attached to the ground and alive, quote unquote, you can't. You just have to deal with it. So
we were trying to decide if it was legal if his caddy just would have pulled it back and held it out of the way or not.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that either. Could be wrong.
If they can pick up a rock for Tiger, they should be able to hold a.
But I will say this: if anybody would know, it'd be Bryson. That dude's a nerd, so he could have. He could have. He would have bent the rules if he had to. There.
The only people I think that could have the only other person I think that could have convinced the rules official to give him a drop from that second shot. No, Phil Mickelson. I feel like Phil knows the rules enough and how to like finagle them to where he's like, I've got to move my ball. This isn't right.
He could have found an ant within 30 feet or something and said that he was standing in it. Something crazy.
Yeah. Standing on an ant or something that's moving. So Brady's got a good question on here about Bryson, and everybody can answer this. Do you think Bryson would be having a better or similar year to Scotty if he was over on the PGA Tour, not the LIV Tour, playing against this competition? Brady, your question, you go first, is a heavy question.
Yeah, well, I thought about the question whenever I heard, I kind of thought about nobody's really comparing him to Scotty. So I was thinking, maybe the question needs to be brought up. I think he would be very close. I think the way that he played in the other two majors this year, I think, him and Scotty might be, swapping back and forth. There's been courses they played earlier this year that fit Bryson as much as they fit Scotty. And, whoever was hot that weekend, I think it could go either way.
I think Bryson would have a similar if not better year, purely because he hasn't been arrested. He has not attacked an officer of the law. He has not broken rules. But I do think it would be very close. I don't know if Bryson wins the way Scotty wins. Kind of like Phil and Tiger. Like Tiger would just play smart enough to win and take the shots he needed to, and Phil would try hero shots that would cost him a tournament at the end by 2 strokes. And I think Bryson will try some of those shots because he knows what he can do, whether it's the perfect scenario for it or not.
Yeah, I don't think they're close. I think Scotty's way better golfer. I think Bryson just set up for the course well. It's his week. Put them together. Bryson on the PGA. He's got a lot of top tens this year. Still probably only that one win right there at the U.S. Open. He's not on Scotty's level. Scotty's Mr. Consistent. You're not beating him.
Except 4 days over par this weekend.
That's I said that one tournament. That's one tournament he got.
I think what Scotty's doing is like an anomaly.
It's insane.
I just don't think there's any comparison really. I mean, his like you said, he's Mr. Consistent. His consistency has been absolutely ridiculous. It's hard enough for again, I'll take it to a high level amateur guy. It's hard enough for a high level amateur guy. We're talking about some of the best guys in college to go out and have a scoring average on the courses that they're playing of, anything around par is wow, you're doing pretty good. And for Scotty to do it on the PGA Tour, playing much tougher courses, longer courses, more competition, everything is, much more magnified than what we're seeing in college. And so for him to do what he's doing is just, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't think Bryson would touch it. I kind of go with the fact that agree with the fact of Tiger Phil scenario, because Phil was the risk taker, and that's what Bryson is. He's got the link to take those risks and get those shots back, versus Scotty's just I'm going to wiggle my feet and hit this down the middle.
Now Bryson's 100% more entertaining.
Scotty's so flat. You don't see him get upset. He doesn't get high. He doesn't get low. And he said it. He's like, I'm just good at golf. It's not who I am, but I'm good and I'm going to win. Yeah. That's what he does every single week.
You're good when your caddy's making more money than most of the people on tour right now. When your caddy's just making that kind of money. But Bryson is 100% more entertaining. Even the shot where it was drivable par 4 and he backs off to an iron and he tells the fans, he's like, don't get mad at me. And he pulls the iron out.
Don't boo me.
Yeah, don't boo me. Stuff like that. Nobody else is talking to the fans as they're getting ready to hit an important tee shot in a major tournament. So I love that about Bryson and his fan interaction. All right, that's Bryson real quick. That's the part about Bryson winning. But not more importantly, but I think Rory lost this more than Bryson won it. Bryson played great golf, but I think Rory at least lost a chance for a playoff. Bryson probably beats him in a playoff, but I think he lost that with these 2 putts on. I think it was 16 and 18.
Yep.
These little putts. What do you think? Didn't they say he was almost
496 of 496 inside 3 feet?
Wow. Until that day.
Until 16. 16 was slightly outside of 3 feet.
Oh, it was.
I believe
16 was 2.5 feet, and the one on 18 was 3 foot 9 inches or something.
Yeah, 3 foot 9. And the commentator said it's inside left. He said you could hit it center and it's still going to drop. And then Rory hits it, and I saw how much it broke, and I said that commentator did not read that putt right. This is just a quick snap.
I saw a second picture of it. So from behind the cup where Rory was putting, it looks flat, slow left, right. But they had a picture from the right side of it, and it's on top of the hill. It looks like it's ready to run a mile away if you touch it wrong.
And we saw it. The most relatable thing was that putt on 16 where it lipped, and you see him put his hand up whoa, whoa, whoa. That's the story of our life. You miss one that close, and you're like, whoa, please stop, please stop. Do you think he said it in his little statement when he withdrew from the Travelers today or yesterday, and they put the post out? He said, I'm closer than ever to winning a major. Do you think that's true?
I want to believe it.
He's not winning. I told y'all years ago when we started this podcast, I said Rory's not winning any more majors for the rest of his career. and I stand by that. That was 2 years
He
ago.
did say this one hurt the most.
He did.
In his gap from winning, he said this loss hurt the most.
I don't like Rory, but I think he's closer. I agree with what he was saying. I mean, he's been fairly close. I mean, to be where he was this week, I think he just added so much pressure to himself coming down the stretch, and I think for the average golfer, it was like an eye opener. Like, hey, they're human too; they make mistakes. But in a situation like that, with Bryson missing a short one was at 16 or 17 as well. It's not about who plays the best down the stretch, it's who chokes the least, as Coach Payne used to say. And Bryson just so happened to choke the least.
Yeah, Bryson missed 15. 2 seconds later, Rory misses 16.
That's what it was.
And then it goes down. I was so excited. Jonah's like, what are you hollering about? I said, my guy. My guy's doing it.
Do you think though, with him, he says he's going to take a few weeks off from golf. Is taking off really the answer? Should he be playing some golf right now, getting ready for some tournaments coming up?
He's trying to save that marriage. You know, they call quits on the divorce.
Yeah.
So I'm sure his head's spinning already personally, much less on the golf course.
And it's public. Like, everybody knows about it. So everybody's talking about it. Probably all his media questions were about it. But what is interesting, and I was just Googling this to make sure before I said it, is that Rory was Mr. Let's announce signature events and get all these top players to play in it so that we can do this. This is a signature event coming up. And once again, Rory's not in it. This has become a theme. He misses these signature events that he was so for. He said, these are going to save the tour. We're going to get all the best players in it. And once again, he's not in it. Disappointed.
He's about to go to Live.
He's denied. He's not getting back on the board, so he knows nobody wants him on the PGA Tour. So I wouldn't blame him if they're about to, which we'll have to talk about that next week, this whole thing that happened last week with PGA and Live and something getting signed. So I'll ask you this. What do you think this U.S. Open is going to be remembered for? Bryson's bunker shot and winning, or Rory missing those two putts and missing and losing?
Rory's putts.
Bunker.
Rory's putt?
I think so.
I think just from my perspective, again, I think that like a lot of folks at home don't realize how hard that shot was that he hit. So like there'll be less talk about that, because if everybody understood how tough that shot was, especially under those circumstances, it would be bunker shot all day long. But anybody can look at the pros and expect them to make those 3.5, 4 footers, and Rory missed it twice. So I think more people are going to talk about that. They're going to say, oh, that was Rory's major that he lost. They're not going to look at it as Bryson's major that he won. Even though in my mind, Bryson stepped up to the plate huge on that bunker shot. Mm-hmm. Like, no matter what happened in front of him, I mean, you know, he obviously knew what the scores were. He didn't know how it happened, but he knows what the scores are. And so for him to get up there into that bunker, hit that shot like that, and then even then just make the putt under those circumstances, ridiculous too. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Bryson said if he had 100 opportunities at that shot again, he said he probably only gets up and down 4 times.
Yep.
Man, that's wild. And then you saw him after the night show. Johnson Wagner how to hit it, and he hits it to 2 feet. But the first one, he said that he'd
run on home.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot of footprints and a lot of like bunker splashes out of there before they showed the one of him hitting close. So
he said the one before he hit close. Bryson walked up and said, "Did you skull it into the clubhouse?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, let me show you how to do it." I think I'm with you as Rory. Bryson, even if he doesn't get up and down out of the bunker, if he makes bogey, they're going to playoff. But Rory, all he had to do, he lost it. If he would have made the putt, he's forcing a playoff and has a chance to win it. And you think about a pro at his skill level, a 2.5 foot putt, and then the 3 foot 9 inches maybe, but a 2.5 foot putt. Those are gimmies for pros. I think he just lost it. That's what he's going to be known for to me.
For sure. I had a couple more things before we get off the U.S. Open. For the course itself, Pinehurst number 2, what was everybody's final thoughts on how it played and tested all the skills of even not the players that finished in the top 10, but like all the other players that finished over par or didn't make the cut? Did everyone enjoy where the scores ended up?
I know Big
I'm
Randy
50-50.
about the scores.
Yeah. I like seeing them tested, but then I'm like, what? A lot of times you can go play the courses after them, like Sawgrass or whatever. Like, this would not be a fun day. This is well over 100 easily.
Oh, yeah.
I can just imagine, we were talking about it at work. You go play it today, and it's still set up the same. You're like, after 3 holes, you're at a 35. You're like, I'm going to the truck. I'm going home. This is not fun.
I know Big Randy from NLU, No Laying Up, he did not enjoy the scores. I think me and Brady, when we did the show last week, I said 5 under, I think, and you said closer to 7, didn't you? Is the winning
I
score?
said 8 or 9. Yeah,
8
I was
or 9,
thinking 8
yeah.
or 9. Which I thought Bryson, he was he teed off Sunday at 7. I think he was 7 or 7 under. Yeah, because he shot a 71. So I was like, man, all he's got to do is, I think he's got a 69 or a 68 in him. So I mean, that's where I kind of thought it would end up.
I thought it was fun. You don't see that very often, pros shooting 8 over. And see them kind of getting challenged. A lot of these courses are set up where the winning score is 27 under par after 4 days. So to see it only be 7 under and watch them have to actually work for something, I thought it was fun to watch.
I always err on the side of tough. I like to watch them struggle. I don't watch a ton
Let
of
them
pro
feel
golf
human.
because I just don't like watching them make birdie after birdie. It gets boring.
Yeah.
I like to watch them make bogeys.
Yeah.
I'm like, ha. I know what it feels like for all of us.
Welcome to the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite thing was the tweet that the grounds crew, the kid, put out. He said the coolest moment of his life was getting booed for watering the greens. Everybody started booing him. I wish they wouldn't have watered them. It would have been a crazy Saturday and Sunday if they didn't.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
cool tournament though.
Maddux, have you played any of the up in the Sand Hills area? Any of those courses?
I don't think I have. No. I wish.
I didn't know if there was any like familiarity of those courses with you.
Not really. No.
I know there's a lot of pine straw, and there's a lot of people that are very lenient with the rules around pine straw up in the Sand Hills. He's not on here to defend himself, so we will not talk about him because he's not going to give him a chance to defend himself. So we'll move on from there.
A few more notable things that happened. Neil Shipley won the Low-Am with a crazy match play scenario with Luke Clanton coming down to 18. Where Luke had I think all he had to do was par, and they would have tied.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and he kind of blew one. He hit out of I don't know. He had a short up and down to make, but he kind of blew his wedge shot and ended up 3-putting. So he doubled to give.
He was only like 4 or 5 foot out too on the putt.
He had a similar putt to Rory. I think it was a little bit longer, like behind the hole right there. And
he had a similar situation against Auburn a few weeks ago, and somebody just couldn't get it done.
That's true.
It's got to be tough.
This is Luke was supposed to be on our podcast, and he kind of ghosted us a little bit. You see what happens when you ghost the BSG boys? Your career just kind of stock goes down a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Luke, if you're listening,
Maddux keeps getting on.
Yeah.
He's playing hot.
Luke, if you're listening, the invitation's still out there, and I'm sure it'll only help your career from here if you just come on.
Amen.
Hey, Neil Shipley, he's the first tee shot Zach and I saw at Augusta on that Monday. He was on hole 1, and he was teeing up, and we were like, who is this guy? Everybody's standing around watching, and he had a 3-wood off hole 1, high draw, and it was insane. He's a big dude in person.
They said he was the first amateur to win Low-Am at 2 majors. It's like 30 or 40 years. It was something that was extreme.
He's going to be good. I put him up against a match with Coach Lytle. Coach Lytle takes it 2-1 at the end of the day.
He did lose his match play match at the national tournament. I watched, or I didn't watch it, but I was paying attention to it on my on GolfStat. And
Coach, I believe in you. If you play him in a match, I got my money on you.
That kid's a different talent.
Our guy ZB, Zach Blair, the Buck Club, Tree Farm, tied 26. After Thursday or Friday was
He was T9.
tied ninth, doing big things. So he got a pretty good paycheck this week, which is kind of like his career. He just goes out there and makes money. He don't really the wins. He just makes the money. And then you got Scotty, Zach's pick for the week, tied for 41st. Almost misses the cut.
He's on the cut line. First time all year. First time in his career he shot 4 rounds over par in a row. No, it just hurt.
All right, real quick. We're going to do quick on this before we go into our picks. USA announced their team today. We've got Scotty, Xander, Wyndham Clark, and Colin Morikawa. What's everybody's thoughts on the whole USA Olympics and these 4 representing us?
Scotty and Xander are fine. The other 2 leave something to reach for.
Who we all know who should be replacing Wyndham, but who would you put in place of Colin?
Cantlay?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
No.
I don't like him, but he plays good.
No Hat Pat? That's who you're taking?
No hat Pat, yeah.
Nah, I would take the
What's your dream foursome right now, Maddux? Scotty and Xander got to go.
Scotty and Xander for sure. I mean, I think you got to put Bryson in there. I don't know about the 4th guy. I would have to look at like overall, but I don't know that it's Colin Morikawa. I think he's. I mean, I love Colin Morikawa. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a excellent player and obviously incredible ball striker. Probably one of the best ever to strike the ball. But I don't know. I mean, I think I saw something earlier. I think it was on one of those Instagram accounts, but it said like they should take the top 25 and make them do like a play-in 18 or 36 holes, and that's how they play into the final 2 spots. Like make the top 2 spots the top 2 spots. It's fine. And then after that, they play in for the final 2, and it'll tell you who wants it, like who really wants to be there. Because I feel like some of those guys, like if they would have gotten picked, they would have, or if they would have been there, like they wouldn't be ecstatic about it. I don't think Wyndham Clark's happy about it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he's still in the top 15 or whatever. I know after the Players Championship when it came down to 18, that was like his last. Hey, I'm sticking around competing, and since then I'm like, where'd he go? How's he representing USA?
On the rankings currently, you got Scotty 1, Xander 3, Wyndham 5, Colin at 7, Patrick Cantlay at number 8, and then Bryson at 10.
Yeah, wow. Which is wild. Bryson's 10, and that's only for majors.
Yep.
That's not any of the other events, which is insane. Right. That's for him to be 10 for that.
I'm looking at the FedEx
I just wanted to verify my Patrick pick was a good pick, so I had to Google the rankings, and I was right on it.
Scotty Xander.
So I'm excited to watch the Olympics. Not the 4 I would want to send for sure. I like Bryson, get in there, and then just give me like if it's gonna be like President's Cup vibe or Ryder Cup vibe, I need American. I need Max Homa or somebody like that in there that I know is wanting to compete. I feel like Wyndham's too like I'm gonna keep to myself. Colin's kind of like a little nerdy kid. I need somebody competitive in there.
Yeah, I would love to see if JT was playing well. He would be like the most perfect example.
We will never see JT play well again. That's another hot take on this episode. Ooh. On this podcast.
You could have replaced 3 and 4 with JT and Spieth, and I think the team would have vibed fine.
Yeah, he's a good pick for that kind of stuff.
They're together. They're good.
He's good for that kind of stuff.
Is Patrick Reed still alive? Have anybody heard from
boys
him
together?
We don't care about Patrick Reed on this podcast.
Who's Mr. America, though?
He is, but ever since he went to live, people are starting to like Patrick a little more. I saw, he's kind of getting back in people's good side. Not mine, though. I don't care about him
either.
All right, let's get into our picks for this week. Travelers Championship signature event, defending champion Keegan Bradley, where if you watched Full Swing 2, you saw his heart get ripped out of his chest by Coach Zach Johnson, worst coach ever in the President's Cup history. Side note, ripped his heart out of his chest by not picking him. I believe this is not in our notes. Keegan should have went and played in it, but we're not going to talk about that. Our picks for this week. we'll go around. Mitchell's not here. Mitchell had picked Scotty, didn't he?
Tony.
Tony. He picked Tony Finau to win. Coming off a decent week at the U.S. Open. So now we'll go around. Brady, who you got?
I got the guy. He was playing hot all week in Pinehurst. Thought he had a chance to stick around to the end. My guy, Ludwig Elberg.
Solid pick.
I'm going with Xander Schauffele.
And
Trying
I've
to get
got,
more points.
we just talked about him, No Hat Pat, coming off a good week at the U.S. Open, coming to the signature event, which was interesting seeing him and Roy partner together this past weekend. I was waiting just for a fight. That's what golf needs. Golf needs a fight to kind of boost the ratings.
Right on 18 green.
Yeah.
And someone puts out, someone walks through his mark or something, through his line.
Just need a fight. So anyways, those are our picks for the PJ. And then we like to make our picks for who won't make the cut. And so we pick somebody top 20, top 40, somewhere in there who won't make the cut. I'm actually going with Mitchell's pick, Tony. Tony's not making the cut this week.
I got Wyndham not making the cut.
Dude, I had Wyndham to miss the cut at the U.S. Open, and he was literally like riding the cut line the entire time. I mean, he killed me on those points I could have got because I thought he was going to miss. But I'm going with a guy. He's been playing decent, but I don't think he's making the cut this week. Is Jason Day?
Oh, Mr. Malbon. Did you have a favorite for this week, Coach?
I'm just now looking at the field. Yeah, if I had to say anybody, it'd be Oberg, but can't. I'm not going to take Brady's pick. But I mean, I think he's the next generational talent. Side note, he's going to be ridiculous in 2 or 3 years.
I think so. He's very impressive in his first year on tour.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
First Masters. What he finished? Didn't he finish like second at the Masters or something crazy?
All right, we're going to the LPGA this week, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, third major of the year. Defending major champ Ruan Yin. This is going to be in Washington. Playing for, this is big for the LPGA, $10 million purse. All eyes are on this. If you don't watch LPGA, this is a great week to watch it. It's got to have a lot of the top names in there. It's going to be interesting. So our picks for this week, I'm going with 2019, I believe, champ Hannah Green.
I've seen that name floating around a lot lately.
It's a good one.
I'm going with who let me down at their last major with a 80 on the first round.
Do you really want to do this before you pick her? Before you say it, do you really want to?
Wait. And this past weekend, there was a big...
Yep. Are you sure?
She's ready. She's back. Give me Nelly.
Oh!
Not that we don't want to see her win, but...
That's what it sounds like.
No.
I
I'm
know where I am in the points.
She's trending down, so I was trying to help you out.
Yeah. She's gotten all of us a lot of points this year so far. But there was the winner from this past week who is coming off of a back injury. She seems to be fully healed and back ready. Lilia Vu is going to be my pick.
And then Mitchell, we have a rule you can only pick somebody twice in a row, so he's following that rule. But his last 4 picks, he's picked this girl 3 of them. He's going Ruan Yin, the defending champion. So either he doesn't know anybody else on the LPGA, or he really likes riding this horse.
He kind of goes between like 3 different girls. Like it's just like
he goes Minji, Nelly, and Ruan. Those are his 3 right there. He just rotates through.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think he don't look at anything LPGA. He just like finds a familiar name.
He might not look at anything PGA either. He's just going big names.
He may not watch golf at all. He may just play it, to be honest with you. So those are our picks for the LPGA. Real quick, if you're a listener, if you're invested in our picks, does anybody have the sheet pick pulled up for the points by chance?
Oh, I do. Current leader for most of the season at this point is me. 392 under par. Second place is Brady, 329 under par, the 63 back. Third place. Ooh.
It's close. It's close.
Mitchell, 241 under par, so 151 strokes back. And Casey, last place, 239 under par, 153 back from first
Just
place.
know there's a point where I was like 30-something back from Mitchell, and I'm clawing and scratching my way back to third place. Just don't have to be last. Max, we're playing. Whoever comes in last place has to enter a legit golf tournament and compete just for the embarrassment of it, because we know we're going to come in dead last. So, and the other guys get to watch and possibly film it or caddy for them.
Caddy.
So we'd love to see Mitchell do it because we want to see a legitimate 122 on the scorecard.
Got to play all 18.
In the
No
tournament.
WD.
Yeah, got to play
No
it.
WD.
Let me tell you, if I come in last and I start to feel like a 115 coming on, you're going to see me drop to my knees and start holding my back. If I shoot
After a tee shot.
If I shoot a 54 on the front, I'm going down on hole 11. I'm going to tell you, boys. I'm going to pull a Tiger. So that's our picks for the week. That's what we got going on. We love to close with a question from the drop zone. This week's question: if you get a hole-in-one on a par 4 with a temporary forward tee, meaning you're playing the 4 tees for that round, are you still counting it?
One swing, I'm counting it. I don't care if it's a par 3 course. One swing it goes in, it's going on the wall.
Oh, I'm for sure counting it too.
I thought about this question because at the Fields, maybe like a month or so ago, they had I think it was number 14, the dogleg right with the pond kind of on the right side of the fairway. It was moved up into the fairway because they were working on the tee box, and all the tees were in the same spot, and it was only like 165 yards or something like that to the green, and I was wondering, like, if someone were to hole out right here, are they counting it as a hole-in-one on a par 4, or is it just a hole-in-one in general? Like,
whatever the scorecard says. Whatever that scorecard says. That's.
I'm with you.
At point, I always play number 10 as a par 4, whether it's on the front tees or the back.
So you're telling me
care.
hole 10, if they're like go to the par 3 tees and you make a 2, a birdie, are you writing that down as a 3 or are you still writing down a 2?
How many swings did it take? That's what I'm putting down.
No, you can't be doing that.
I think, Maddux, didn't I ask you about this one time?
Yeah, about
number 10.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think
what I normally do is when it gets moved down there to that the tee beside the fairway, I normally just say, like, that was my tee shot. I was hitting on that tee box. Like, so I'm hitting 2 from that tee box when I play it solo.
Not me.
That's his first swing. No, I think
I would be very disappointed.
You just have to adjust on 18 birdies.
As whatever the scorecard says.
Oh, shoot. Real quick before we close out, Coach, we got any tournaments planned at Point? I know you had to play some at Noonan this year. We got any coming at Point this fall?
No, so we usually do host one in the fall, first event of the year. This year we're doing away with that one, but there is going to be a women's event out there for that weekend. We just have a conflicting tournament that we have to play in that's a little bit more competitive, better teams, bigger event. We played in it last year, but I just felt kind of bad leaving Coach Greg there alone to deal with the tournament. So, but yeah, no, the closest we got this fall will probably be probably the one we have in Sea Island or near Sea Island. But yeah, we'll be back in Noonan in the fall in March, first or second week of March.
I talked to a lot of guys, and they say Noonan, which I know I played Noonan, but they say it's a hard course for them to have the tournaments at. Is that, you can keep your mouth shut here if you want to, is that because you prefer Noonan, or is that course conditions at Point, or is that just it's easier to get teams at Noonan?
No, I mean, I think it's just at Noonan we do 36-18. Obviously, it is a little bit better of a track. And then in the springtime is really when a lot of teams will travel to play the bigger, better events. And so we kind of set it up to be like a top tier event versus the one at home. Just, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's like it's a chance for everybody on our team to play is all it really was. And a lot of the teams that came were B teams or teams with smaller budgets because it's a cheaper event. So, and it's only 18-18 on a weekend. So it's a little bit different, but I think Noonan, I mean, obviously Noonan's a much harder golf course. It's in really good shape pretty much year round now. And yeah, I mean, it's a difficult track. You got to play well there.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate Coach coming on. We're excited about the fall. We're excited to watch Point and see the team go. So appreciate you coming on. That's it, episode 107. Anybody got closing remarks? Cool. Awesome. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Maddux.